Welcome to Bloody Chapter, where silence can be louder than screams. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories that haunt the mind long after the sound fades. I used to think silence meant peace. That it was something you could hide inside when the world got too loud. But that was before I learned there's a kind of silence that listens back. It started a few months ago, the first night I noticed the world stop breathing. I was in bed, half awake, scrolling through old photos when I realized something was wrong. The rain outside my window had stopped. Not slowed. Not faded. Just gone. I sat up, staring into the darkness. My phone screen glowed in my hand. 3:01 a.m. The streetlights still burned. The shadows still moved. But the world didn't make a sound. For 1 minute, everything was still. No hum. No breath. No life. And then, just as suddenly, it all came back. The rain, the air, the world exhaling at once. 3:02. I told myself it was exhaustion. Or maybe a glitch in the power. But I was wrong. Because the next night, it happened again. And that time, I wasn't alone in the silence. The first silence. The rain had been falling for hours that night. A steady rhythm against the glass, the kind of sound that fills the spaces you didn't know were empty. I remember lying there, eyes half open, tracing the droplets that slid down the window like veins of silver in the dark. It was peaceful. Almost enough to make me forget the silence from the night before. Almost. Then, it stopped. Not faded, stopped. I looked up. The world was still again. My clock read 3:01 a.m. And once more, the rain wasn't there. I could still see it, tiny ripples forming in puddles, drops rolling down the glass, but there was no sound at all. Not a whisper of wind. Not even the hum of my own breathing. It was like the air had been replaced with glass, fragile, frozen, waiting to shatter. I whispered my own name, Lena. My lips moved, but I heard nothing. Not even the faint vibration in my throat. That's when I realized something else. I could move freely, but everything around me was locked. The curtain stopped mid-sway. A raindrop hung suspended halfway down the pane. The world was stuck. Only I was still alive inside it. The second hand on my clock didn't move. I could feel my heartbeat, but not hear it. I counted silently, maybe 40, 50 seconds, before sound returned in a single crashing wave. Thunder rolled. The curtain swayed. The rain came roaring back. And when I glanced at my phone again, it read 3:02. That minute, that one impossible, empty minute, had passed. I wrote it down in my notebook. 3:01 to 3:02. Second occurrence. Underlined twice. I didn't tell anyone this time. Not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't want them to look at me the way my friend did last time. Like I was broken. Still, I couldn't stop thinking about it. The way the world looked, frozen but awake. The way it felt like someone else was there with me, watching from a space just outside my sight. So the next night, I stayed awake on purpose. I wanted to see if it would happen again. And it did. Only this time, something moved in the silence. The pattern. The third night, I didn't blink. I sat by the window, watching the street outside my apartment drown in rain. Headlights blurred into ribbons of white and gold, reflections trembling in the puddles below. I thought maybe I'd imagined the whole thing, that the silence wouldn't come back if I stayed ready for it. But when the clock on my phone turned 3:01, everything stopped. Just like before. The rain froze in midair. The wipers on a passing car hung halfway through their sweep. Even the faint pulse of neon from the cafe across the street dimmed into nothing. Only I could move. Only I could breathe. But this time, something else was moving too. It was faint, a flicker of motion in the hallway mirror. I turned toward it slowly, my breath locked in my throat. At first, I thought it was just a trick of light. But then, I saw her. A reflection that wasn't mine. A woman standing behind me, eyes open, lips still, staring through me as if she'd been waiting. Her face pale, her hair damp as though she'd just stepped out of the rain. I spun around, nothing. Empty room. When I looked back at the mirror, the reflection was gone. The silence broke, sound rushing back in a flood. The clock struck 3:02. My heart nearly gave out from the shock. I didn't sleep after that. Didn't even move from that spot for hours. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, the faint curve of a smile she hadn't quite finished forming. By the next night, I'd made up my mind. If the silence came again, I'd be ready. I set up my phone to record video, one camera facing me, one toward the hallway. Maybe I could prove it was real. 3:00. I started counting down in my head. 57, 58, 59. 3:01. The world went still. I looked directly into the camera. Everything around me was frozen, except me, and the faint shadow moving past the doorframe behind me. It wasn't walking like a person. It was gliding. Smooth, deliberate, slow. The light dimmed where it passed. And as it reached the edge of the room, I heard, or maybe felt, a voice. Not loud, not clear. Just one word. My name. Lena. My chest tightened. I turned toward it, nothing there. But in the silence, I could sense it closer than before. When the clock flicked to 3:02, the rain returned in a violent rush. My phone vibrated in my hand. Recording stopped. When I replayed the video, everything looked normal. Except one frame. A single still image, half a second long, showing the reflection of a woman standing behind me. Same pale face. Same damp hair. Her eyes, open too wide. I deleted the video immediately. But deleting it didn't delete her. Because the next night, she moved closer. The voice in the silence. By the fourth night, I was afraid to sleep. But I was more afraid not to. The silence wasn't just happening, it was choosing me. I could feel it, like the air itself waited for me to notice before it began. That night, I sat on my bed with the lights off. Notebook open, pen ready. The rain whispered softly outside, and I kept my eyes on the clock. 3:00. I whispered, please don't come. But of course, it did. 3:01. The world froze again. Rain suspended mid-fall. The soft hum of the fridge vanished. My pen stopped mid-stroke. And then, she was there. Not in the mirror this time. In the doorway. Still, motionless, watching me. Her clothes clung to her skin as though she'd just stepped in from a storm. And though I couldn't hear her, I could see her lips moving. They formed my name again, Lena. Slow, deliberate, aching with familiarity. I wanted to scream, but what's the point of screaming in a world that can't hear? Instead, I stood. Each movement heavy, like wading through something thick and invisible. She didn't move. Didn't blink. Just lifted one hand and pointed toward the window. The rain outside was frozen in midair. But behind it, beyond the glass, I saw something else. A shape. A reflection. A memory I didn't recognize. Two figures standing in the street. A car. Headlights cutting through the downpour. And me, frozen behind the wheel. I stepped closer, heart pounding even though I couldn't hear it. My breath fogged the glass as I whispered, "That's not me." But the truth hit before I could deny it again. The woman turned back toward me. And for the first time, I saw her face clearly. It was mine. Older. Paler. Eyes hollow from years of sleepless nights. But me. I stumbled back, shaking my head. No. Her lips moved again, slower this time. 3 words I didn't want to understand. You never left. And just like that, sound returned. The rain crashed down. The clock struck 3:02. The doorway was empty. But the message stayed with me. Because I suddenly remembered that night, the one I'd buried so deep I thought it was gone. The car. The road. The headlights that never stopped. It was raining then too. That was the moment I realized, the silence wasn't happening to me. It was happening because of me. The last 3:02. I didn't leave my apartment the next day. Didn't answer calls. Didn't open the blinds. The world outside felt like an echo of something I'd already lost. I replayed the memory again and again. The road, the rain, the glare of headlights cutting through the storm. The impact. The way time seemed to stop, just for me. And that's when I understood. The silence wasn't a curse. It was a reminder. A loop I was trapped in, a minute that never truly ended. 3 o'clock. I sat by the window again, the rain whispering secrets I'd begun to understand. I whispered to no one. If it happens again, I won't fight it. 3:01. The world froze. The rain stopped. And she appeared, standing beside me this time. No fear. No distance. Just the same face, the same eyes. For the first time, I noticed she wasn't trying to frighten me. She was trying to finish something. To help me remember. She knelt beside me and touched my hand, cold, soft, like touching the surface of still water. The moment she did, everything came flooding back. The crash. The screaming metal. The taste of blood in my mouth. The rain against broken glass. I wasn't the one who survived that night. I was the one who didn't. The silence wasn't visiting me, I was the silence. A memory left looping between the last beat of my heart and the first drop of rain. The woman wasn't my ghost. She was my reflection, the life I lost trying to come home. She smiled then, faintly, and whispered something only I could hear. "Come back." I nodded. For the first time, the silence felt peaceful. The rain outside began to move again, but I didn't hear it. The clock on my phone turned to 3:02. And this time, it stayed there. They found my apartment weeks later. The phone was still recording, hours of nothing but soft rain and static. 1 minute of silence repeating, over and over. 3:01 to 3:02. If you listen closely, between the drops, you can still hear a whisper. Lena. And that was the last 3:02. If the silence ever finds you in the middle of the night, maybe listen before you run. Like, share, and subscribe to Bloody Chapter for more stories that haunt the mind long after the sound fades.